Nate G219 here to help it back and better. You know what it is. Happy 4th of July. I have to bring one to you today, First, hit that like and subscribe. Maybe support that app or channel if you would like to. I'm trying to grow and trying to fund a trip out to go see Ian Bick. And he had invited me to his show. And there's a few of us prison content creators, although I'm probably the smallest one there is. I'm under 400 subscribers, so please hit that like and subscribe. But JD DeLay, Ian Bick, Blood on the Razor Wire, Chad, shout out to you, Jessica Kent, Jay Williams, and Lockdown 23 and 1 for sure. Death, you've been a huge inspiration to me actually doing this. I was scared to even open up about my prison experience and stuff like that, but as you see after over 100 videos, I've come much more comfortable with the camera. So today I'm gonna do just a story about really, my road to prison, the drugs and how rampant they are and the issues with that. I'd love to be able to snap my fingers and just stop the heroin, stop the meth, but you can't. You can't do it. And I know there's the drug use across this country or drug abuse is just horrendous. It's frightening. What they've done with Portland, it's frightening. And with the drugs comes death, comes disease. There's a lot that comes with it. And I just want to tell you a couple stories about experiences that I've had inside the prison. Not me personally. I witnessed other people experience these situations, which gave me an experience and everlasting images in my head. So everybody knows that K2 is an epidemic. In Indiana, when you overdose on K2, we refer to it as pranking out. So that's not what I'm going to be talking about, because everybody already knows that that's horrible. I've seen some things with the K2 epidemic. It's everywhere, and it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. The more advanced technology gets, the more advanced the inmates get, because in a majority of prisons, we got phones. And for some odd reason, I saw more in the maximum security than I ever saw. I didn't see one at IYC, where this first story comes from. It was December of 2017. This is my last December inside a prison wall. So it was a couple weeks before Christmas, and I remember hearing a pack came in. I was minding my own business at this place. I was working 60 to whatever they'd let me work hours a week. I was just keeping myself busy because I was not gonna come home. I had different goals. I had a whole different mentality. I was a different person when I went back to prison the second time. The reason why I went back was because I was getting off of probation. I was going to be serving 4 years of probation, and they were messing with me, and it just wasn't working out. And they violated me on some case that happened years prior to the... I'm not going to even explain. It doesn't matter. I was back in prison. So one night, like I said, a couple weeks before Christmas, I'm in G dorm, which, by the way, is the worst dorm in the damn prison. H is right across from me, and there's a hallway in between the dorms, and there's like a makeshift window. It's a cage. It's not a window. It's no glass or anything. There's just cage windows. So, and there's a door you can actually, I mean, you'd see it sliding stuff back and forth underneath the doors, you know, whatever it is. Fishing back, I mean, we would not really be fishing because it was so close. We didn't have to fish. This was open dorm stuff. There's no fishing in an open dorm. So, I remember hearing that some big pack came in, and later on that morning or something, or the next morning, yeah, it was the next morning, somebody had overdosed, and it was while I was at work. It was in a different dorm. It was in the cell house, if I remember correctly. He had overdosed and died. So that cell house was already on lockdown. Later on that night, lights out, so it's after midnight, well after midnight. I was asleep. I start hearing a lot of commotion. Like, I was two bunks away from that damn cage window, so all the time there were people at this damn cage window yelling back and forth. I hated. That was just the worst spot you could ever be. Other than right in front of the police station, the cop booth. But in this prison, they didn't even have a cop that sat up in the actual dorm with you, unlike Lakeside up north, which my next stories will come from. And that one's to you, Death. I don't give a damn what people think about me drinking coffee either. Or how I drink it. But start hearing this commotion, and all you know, you start seeing the ambulances coming in. Their lights are on, our lights are on. There's just a lot of commotion going on, and nobody in G-Dorm is 100% sure what's going on. I don't remember the 3 individuals' names, but they had overdosed on heroin. Luckily, Narcan saved them, but barely. One of them had brain damage, at least for the remainder of the time while I was there. Like, you could tell he wasn't right from it. He was a different person until he had overdosed. He just seemed a little bit slow, and I'm not kidding you guys. There was a good 30 minutes before guards realized that these guys were dying, and paramedics getting there. There wasn't an on-site Narcan booth, which there should be. Every prison should have them, because heroin is flooded. And, you know, they may now. This was back in, like I said, 2017, and end of 2017. So they might have that by now. I hope they do, to prevent the losses. I mean, they could definitely have prevented him from being slow, but he did still make that choice. But let me tell you, it's not gonna be easy to not choose to do that. Sorry guys, I scooted myself back. There's drugs everywhere in there. They're everywhere. There are more. The drugs are more accessible inside prison than they are right now. it was, I could look across the dorm if I wanted something and say, hey, let me get this. And I'd had it. No question about it. Drug-wise. Now, phones, I didn't see a single phone inside of IYC. I heard there was one or two in the cell house, but I don't know. Doesn't matter. All right, guys, I'm going to bring you back up north here. Indiana State Prison and Lakeside. So, as you know, the first prison I went to was Lakeside. Now, when I walked in there, it looked like I was walking into a pool hall. There's no smoking allowed in the prison. But the smoke cloud, you know how it was back in the 80s. Some of you don't. The 90s, when you'd walk into a bar and just the cloud of smoke would be, 10 feet down from the ceiling. Yeah, that's what it looked like in here. And I learned quick that there was at least a dozen cell phones, at least a dozen, between 120 guys. And there was K2 everywhere. There was crack when I got there. Only reason I knew that, I went to go use the bathroom one day, and there was two guys sitting there smoking out of I don't remember what the heck they were using to smoke it out of. I think they had made something out of a pen. I don't remember, but I hurried up, turned around, got minding my own business, But there was a lot of heroin there too. Now, when I went behind the wall, boy, I was not ready to see what I had seen. There was heroin everywhere. There was crystal meth everywhere. There was acid everywhere. It was like Portland, Oregon over there. Probably still is, I'm pretty sure. I know Westville's flooded with dope too. It's not just a couple prisons. It's every prison. Now you get to them lower security prisons, they probably don't have as much of the heavy drugs, but when you go to the lifers, what they overdose on heroin, they don't really care. They don't care. So now, one time in my life, I had done crystal meth. Now, I didn't know it was meth when I had done it. I want to say I was maybe 15 or 16. Honestly, thought it was a line of coke. Didn't know. Just an experimenting kid, And so I was always curious how they smoked it out of a light bulb. And I just never seen it done. And there was another cat, King Shorty, shout out to you. He was always cool. He was always cool little dude with me, man. God, I wish I knew your real name because I'd look you up. I know you didn't have long to go. But they were smoking meth out of the light bulb. And as we're sitting there, I could just see their eyes go from normal to not normal to just binged out. They were zooted out. Eyes black, just instantly. You want to try? Absolutely not. In fact, me and King Shorty got the hell out that cell after that. He came down to my cell and we smoked a cigarette. And both were just like, damn. It's everywhere, guys. And so in order, if you're going to go to prison and rehabilitate yourself or hope for rehabilitation, you have got to try to steer clear of something that's literally everywhere you go. On top of that, you got violence everywhere you go. So You know, I would never take some acid or smoke some meth with these guys that have probably took acid, killed somebody because they were tripping out, or smoked meth and, the shadow people made them kill 3 people or something. I need to be on my P's and Q's. And even when I did heroin, I would be a little more, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say I'd have been on my P's and Q's, but I wasn't doing it in there. For one, I was scared of HIV. It was everywhere. So was hepatitis. I mean, they were sharing needles. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But then I got to thinking, it was no different than people I knew, people I know. Some still doing this. It's so unfortunate. And, part of changing the course of people's lives is trying to save them before they go down that road to prison. Because once you go down that road to prison, you're going to be different. I mean, not everybody has prison times seeing as much violence as others. Some go for much longer and don't get in any fights or in any disciplinary. But I mean, I wasn't there 2 weeks at Lakeside before I got wrote up for a cigarette or something. I don't remember what it was. It didn't matter. It was a petty write-up anyways. But the drugs are everywhere. And every drug you can ever think of, except for the pills. And if the pills are there, it's because the guys that are prescribed them, that got to go to medical, because I was actually prescribed narco 7.5s while I was in prison because my back's that bad. So I had to go down to the medical booth and, they'd crush it up and put it in water and make sure you took it. And I mean, but the illegal drugs are everywhere and they're so much easier to get, guys. So I had a talk with somebody over this 4th of July weekend, and, we want to start making Narcan available here in the 219, more accessible in the 219, that is, anywhere around here, because we have a big problem with the heroin. It's a huge epidemic in the country, but in this area near Chicago, it's just horrible, guys. And if we can stop one person from going to prison and going down that road, or save their life if we have to, man, we're going to do it. So please hit that like and subscribe, and hit that Cash App if you want to support the channel. Remember, guys, never forget life's choices. They're going to go with you no matter where you go. You always got to be playing chess. No checkers. If they ain't hating it, you ain't making it.